When you sold your business, what prompted you to see the exit? Did you have an incident? Did you have something that happened? Or were you always intentional about what you were building?
Oh no, no. Actually, I didn't put together that a lot of people were intentional about exiting until you brought it up to me last year when you and I think Bruce
Really?
also said it. And I went, "Oh, everyone else is like trying to exit one day?" Like it wasn't I was looking at this as a money-making opportunity, and my reason for exiting was still in employee owner mindset of, "Oh, this is just frustration. Oh, it's so hard being in the business. Oh, I just want to exit it." I didn't put together business as a product until the very end. I have a little phrase here that symbolizes this. The more valuable you are to your company, the less valuable your company is.
A business owner of XYZ company to then become the business owner of ABC company, CFD company,
That,
EFD company.
yes,
So you're not helping
yes.
them sell one business or function in one business. You're helping them learn the process, how to replicate it, right?
Literally that to see a business, this is my words, to see a business to completion allows you to understand how to hold multiple businesses. Until you can do that once, it becomes harder to even fathom doing that a second, third, fourth, and fifth time because you're busy being in it. When I got my CEO, the first CEO I ever had, and he looked at me and said, "Whatever you want, boss."
So, Lee, we're going to give people all kinds of information about you, how to reach you, how to connect with you. But do you have like a sweet spot? Businesses, I mean, I wouldn't limit introducing you to anyone I knew that was a business owner at any level for any reason because I think everybody can derive value from what you do. But I just want to make sure also that folks hear you around your messaging and the types of businesses and CEOs that you do work with, founders, where it makes the most sense and
Absolutely.
where you have the most success. Because I know you a little bit to know that everybody else's success is deeply meaningful and important to you.
Absolutely. There is a sweet spot, and I appreciate you asking that question because there are every level of business founder that is out there. And my favorite to work with and where I shine is where I had the lived experience. And so I have people that come outside of what I'm about to describe, and that's fine. The point is for me to share the kind of environment where I can best support you, which is identity based and success or revenue based. Identity based, I target LGBTQ and female founders for the sake of having a place where they can feel comfortable and at home. And anyone who's an ally of that, that's fine. I just want to be clear about who I target in that way. That's the identity portion. In terms of revenue, I aim and target $500K to $5 million in revenue companies that have teams, service based companies, and expert led companies and businesses that are in service.
Lee, you and I connect on so many levels. The work you do, the language you speak, the people you work with, the why you do what you do. I'm thrilled to be able to share you with the audience. And I'm excited for them to learn about you.
Oh my goodness. I'm so honored that you reached out and asked me to do this because it is a gift and an honor to have anyone believe in you enough to, feature. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Our pleasure. Not only do I believe in you, but you're getting great accolades from the folks you're working with in the
Mhm.
organization. So it's we're being validated left and right that you really are good at what you do. So
Oh,
why don't you share a little bit about that? Start from any part of what you do. I don't know that people will understand the entire scope until you share your story.
yeah, truly. I have heard both sides of, oh, everyone knows a business coach. And more often for me, and I have to tell people this, most people don't. They're like, what do you do? I don't get it. And so it is a per lane thing. Every business coach is different. But my way of doing it is my favorite way of doing it because I help people become a vacation ready CEO. And so
I
what does that
love
mean?
that.
I know, right? Me too. I
I love
love
that.
traveling.
And so you all know Lee's already done and accomplished what he helps other people do.
This isn't just theory for me. I founded a
No.
company in 2013 and then I replaced myself as CEO. I joined the board and then I sold the business. So I've lived the whole experience from founder all the way to selling. And it wasn't easy and it was so hard. Oh my God, it was so much work. But I realized when my clients, who were all under the guise of me being a life coach, were saying to me, "You're my business coach." And I'm like, No, no, my signature line, it says like, oh, wait a minute. And the connection I made and the what makes me different in my way of doing it is that businesses are energetic replicas of its leader, owner, or founder. And that helped me to see there's no escaping life coaching. The mistakes and repeated patterns people make in their business, the reason they hit ceilings, the reason they have the same issues with the same clients or the same employees and the frustrations all have to do with them and their behavior. And I look back at my experience and it was the same thing. And so now I help people to grow and scale. I say, you pay me to make money by starting with you. And so that's my unique proposition of where I start the journey. But then I end with vacation ready, which is another way of saying being ready to sell. Because if you can leave your business for 30 days and your business still grows, makes money, and runs itself, then you're in a place where you're ready to sell. And so let's
I
get
call
there.
that founder status.
Heck yes. Oh, let's
You
get
call
that
it
green
vacation ready.
certificate.
I call it founder status.
I love it. It's all a desire for me. For example, vacation is my knowing myself and people like me, they're going to react to the word vacation. Whereas I'm receiving in this moment with you. Oh, that totally makes sense. Some people to say founder status, that beamingness is going to really resonate with them. So thank you already. I'm like, oh, heard. Love that.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I love your language because it reminds me of one of my favorite places, which is a group of like-minded people that really do see, hear, and reflect each other in a way that is positive so that you can make changes effectively. And I think that's one of the best things I can say about you is that you are an active listener, that you actually hear what's being said and not said, that you are able to really focus on the parts and pieces that will help each individual get out of their own way.
I mean, I can't scream loud enough to reflect what you're saying in terms of, and this is a self-interested bragging moment. I'm really good one-on-one with people because everyone I'm tailoring it
Yeah.
to to back up for me and start the membership that I started last year required me to have a catch-all framework and I found that hard because, to your point, I'm so fascinated by people and I'm so into you, so that I'm like, okay, what is your specific
Right.
blocks and patterns that aren't everyone else's? And I'm so deep into that that it's hard to then back out of that and say, well, what's going to help everyone? Because everyone's at different places. So I love, my favorite is to tailor it for the individual. Oh, love it.
So when you sold your business, what prompted you to see the exit? Did you have an incident? Did you have something that happened? Or were you always intentional about what you were building?
Oh no, no. Actually, I didn't put together that a lot of people were intentional about exiting until you brought it up to me last year. When you, and I think Bruce
Really?
also said it, and I went, oh, everyone else is like trying to exit one day. Like it wasn't. I was looking at this as a money-making opportunity, and my reason for exiting was still in employee owner mindset of, oh, this is just frustration. Oh, it's so hard being in the business. Oh, I just want to exit it. I didn't put together business as a product until the very end. It didn't click for me that we are socialized from childhood to today, wherever you are, to
Yeah.
work for someone. And so to have that mindset over and to see a business as a product was a breakthrough moment for me that then helped inform how I show up for all my clients now. So thank
I
you.
I was just I had no idea. I love that I was part of that for you. Thank you
Oh,
for
absolutely.
sharing. Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. I'll tell you just a quick little story. I built and sold my first internet business in the late 90s. Well, built it earlier in the 90s, sold in the late 90s, actually in 99. My business part, so we had been approached by, I had built, now they're called websites, but I'm going to date myself. They were called portals. They weren't even websites at the time. And I built them around different disease states. And I built community online, which I've been doing since then, community in one form or another. And we were approached by probably the largest community-driven business online, internet business at the time. And my partner wouldn't sell. And he said,
Hmm.
nope, it's my baby. And I said, well, let me explain to you. Such and such company just gave us this valuation. This is what my share of the business is worth. It's time for me to sell. So you're going to buy me out. You don't want to sell? That's fine. You're going to buy me out. I said, we're in the business to build things and sell them. That's what we do. That's what
Hmm.
business is about. I have no emotional attachment to this. Yes, it's been a ride. Yes, it was hard work. Yes, it was a lot of fun. Yes, blood, sweat, and tears invested, late nights, weekends, evenings, all of it. For what? To say I did it? No, I want to sell, right? And move on. I happen to be a person who really loves to build and create. So for me, it's the only purpose to do it,
Hmm.
right? So it's very interesting that you just shared that it wasn't an intentional, I'm building this to sell it. So many people, and you hear this advice a lot from folks, especially finance folks. What's your exit strategy?
Yeah.
And I've heard entrepreneurs say, I'm just building it. It's not worth anything yet. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. How do you think you're going to get out? And it's not for any other reason other than to try to help people understand the best decision making as you're scaling, as you're growing. There are whys behind certain decisions. If you know them up front, it makes the decision making process a little easier. Because being an entrepreneur is just not for the faint of heart, no matter who you are, no matter what your business is, right? How many people you work with, and you're like, yeah, no one ever promised you this would be easy.
Oh my goodness, it is not. It is such a journey. And
And
for
then trying to
me,
get out of your own way as you're building a business.
mm,
But I think the business reflects us when we're making decisions. So when we're making those decisions, if there's a you in the mix, you can say, Lisa, I want you to just recognize what you just said or the process you're in or the decision you're making. You made a similar decision a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago for the same reasons. Maybe it's time to start shifting the reason why, which might shift the decision, right? So I think having a you as a soundboard and you as a guide to go through that process, even if they're not ready to exit,
oh my gosh, yeah.
what has to happen for that business owner, right?
Yes,
Not
exactly.
just, there are all kinds of folks that'll go through the numbers and processes and automations, which you help with. But when you talk about being the life coach to the business owner so that the business can thrive, that is remarkable because that is a fundamental shift in thinking that allows that person, a business owner of XYZ company, to then become the business owner of ABC company, CFD company,
That,
EFG company.
yes,
So you're not helping
yes.
them sell one business or function in one business. You're helping them learn the process, how to replicate it, right?
Literally that to see a business, this is my words, to see a business to completion allows you to understand how to hold multiple businesses. Until you can do that once, it becomes harder to even fathom doing that a second, third, fourth, and fifth time because you're busy being in it. I mean, the story I like to tell that was a brain-breaking moment for me was when I had, now this is, no one gave me these words, it clicked for me. When I got my CEO, the first CEO I ever had, and he looked at me and said, "Whatever you want, boss." And I
You're
could,
fired.
no, I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, keep calling me boss. I love it. A CEO works for me. And as I thought about it, I had a co-owner who owned multiple businesses and served as a model to me to see what it was like. And the click the metaphor that came out for me is that a CEO is an assistant, a highly paid, very prideful, very talented assistant for this guy and me. My words, he didn't say that, but it clicked for me because, man, this guy was talented and he was running this company, my company, in a beautiful way, growing the revenue, fixing issues I never even could see because he came with all of his paradigm and experience from $1 billion company to run mine in a way that I just it was that's the point. Hire people that teach you, and still he reports to me. If I had something that was really important to me, he said, "You're the owner." And I just, even now, I'm still in awe of looking at that kind of paradigm that, yes, ultimately, I'm here to serve you. And both of us are in it for making the company the best possible, but I'm in it for you, Lee. I am, again, my words, I am your assistant in that way. I'm assisting you by running the business all the way to the ends. And this is my passion, Lee. What? That to me was the most tickling thing, and I'm still tickled today. To have that concept and know that someone else can take care of your baby for you is one of the biggest changes you can make in your life.
Amazing. Amazing.
Incredible.
Okay,
Incredible.
I don't know if we can talk about anything else. That's like mic drop.
I mean, it still is for me. I'm still blown away. I have a little phrase here that symbolizes this. The more valuable you are to your company, the less valuable your company is.
That that actually says everything, right? Try to share with folks the value of what you do. It's all wrapped up in that sentence.
Literally that. Huge.
That statement literally says it all. So, Lee, we're going to give people all kinds of information about you, how to reach you, how to connect with you. But do you have like a sweet spot businesses? I mean, I wouldn't limit introducing you to anyone I knew that was a business owner at any level for any reason because I think everybody can derive value from what you do. But I just want to make sure also that folks hear you around your messaging and the types of businesses and CEOs that you do work with, founders, where it makes the most sense and where you
Absolutely.
where you have the most success, because I know you a little bit to know that everybody else's success is deeply meaningful and important to you.
Absolutely. There is a sweet spot, and I appreciate you asking that question because there are every level of business founder that is out there. And my favorite to work with and where I shine is where I had the lived experience. And so I have people that come outside of what I'm about to describe, and that's fine. The point is for me to share the kind of environment where I can best support you, which is identity based and success or revenue based. Identity based, I target LGBTQ and female founders for the sake of having a place where they can feel comfortable and at home. And anyone who's an ally of that, that's fine. I just want to be clear about who I target in that way. That's the identity portion. In terms of revenue, I aim and target 500K to $5 million in revenue companies that have teams, service-based companies, and expert-led companies and businesses that are in service in that frame because it's so exciting to me to help them wake up in the same way I did. It is one of those spots in that revenue range where things are successful, things are going well, and yet there's still so much opportunity in this. Why is it that I'm not getting these vacations where I'm leaving for 30 days? 30 days, yeah. I'm leaving for 30 days and knowing my company is still running without me. That's the kind of work that we're getting toward.
There are programs from Tory Burch to Goldman Sachs, 10K to for women particularly. I think Goldman is men and women, but I know Tory Burch, if I'm not mistaken, is and I might be mistaken, uh, women's women business owners focus, and they say the same thing, and that is part of their criteria. You have to be able to walk away from your business to do this. You have to have X number of employees to be able to manage and run the business while you're engaged here, right? So at the end of the day, there is value to getting to a certain place in your business. But if you are an entrepreneur of any level, you know those first hurdles, your first employee, full-time employee, right? Putting in a team and trusting a middle management is huge, right? But there does come a point where you have a certain level of revenue and a certain number of employees that it's a game changer. And I can tell you this over and over and over again from working with business owners, right? Myself, there's a very big difference between 4 employees and 20 employees, right?
Absolutely.
It's a night, the businesses are night and day.
Absolutely.
But then
Absolutely.
you go from 20 employees to have 100 employees, and you're still a very small business, right?
Isn't that wild?
It is wild that
Yes. I
the
mean,
government.
my company had 250 employees, but they were all temporary hospitality staffing. So it was the biggest, what's the word? When you're put through the ringer. It was the best testing ground to understand people, especially when you're working with people who aren't gonna stay, who want to do something else, and you still have them love your company. How is that possible? That was my conundrum, which gave me the best training ground ever to help people with people, which is really what business is. In this age of AI, oh
Yeah.
gosh, all these things are going to happen where it's all going to be technology. And yet, every conversation, I'm going to say 90% of the conversations I have with my clients are about people. Imagine that.
About people. And if you think about the hospitality business that you built and sold, there's not any part of that other than maybe administrative tasks or marketing that AI could play a real role in.
Absolutely.
Your business was predicated on humans,
That's
people.
right.
And without the ability to understand, work with, hear, listen, see people, you would not have been so successful. So I really can't thank you enough for coming to have this conversation and chat publicly. I know we talk offline so often about things like this, but your ability to help business owners get out of their own way to get to the path where they can exit in a successful and meaningful way, not just an exit, but successful and meaningful are huge statements. And you're really good at what you do. And
Mm.
it's been a pleasure to watch. I look forward to all that's ahead of us. And again, just thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your willingness to always be so kind and create spaces for not just me, but others to share what we know. This is something where we're in the journey, you're in the journey, and you're willing to create a space that's going to help promote us, you, and others to see best practices, which to me is the point. The more you can understand about others, the more you can glean off of them and also help yourself. And so I appreciate you creating this avenue. Thank you so much for
Thank,
having me on here.
thank you so much, Lee.